the Party Nation. Party Nation. Party Nation. Party Nation.
What was that?
Perfect timing.
Whose phone was that?
Your notification works.
Oh wow, that's actually
That's your sign
funny.
to
That's
hit the
funny.
alert bell.
Oh, that was too perfectly timed.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to what I like to call the celebration of all things Arrowverse and DCTV. As we know, yesterday Superman and Lois made its final bow. It made everyone here cry like babies.
I didn't cry.
Yeah, Tosh shoulders his emotions like a real man.
Yeah, well,
Right? You know.
Tosh cried on the inside.
No.
Oh,
He
Like I
does
said,
that
I'm not super. I love the show, but I wasn't like super attached to it like I was like Flash and Arrow and stuff. Because that was the beginning of
cries on the
Arrowverse.
inside every time you call him cousin.
No, that just pisses me off.
that's true. This was Mike's face during the entire thing.
Hey, Justin, I did not want Cecile. I would have turned it off if she popped up. I'm not even.
Hey, we know who did want her.
I mean,
I'm not continuing that point.
Oh Jesus.
That's
But
always
we got the gang, and maybe some more people will show up along the way. But we have a full house today. How is everybody doing?
Still recovering.
Blessed. I'm blessed.
Yeah, still recovering a little bit.
Yeah. After the holiday of being Thanksgiving and everything, but also after this finale,
I don't know who this Darren guy is, but
This guy sucks. I don't know.
it's just making you grateful of, friends and family and and loved one, and just like people that brings joy into your life. And so I think I'm at a point where I had the best day at work today. People pissing me off. But any day I come back home to a beautiful wife, about to bring me some dinner, and I'm here with my friends talking about this amazing finale. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was nice. Darren?
What was the question? I'm so sorry.
How are you doing today? How was your day?
Shit, because I cried all night. No, I was kidding. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know what? Like as sad as yesterday's finale is, there is kind of a nice feeling of like, okay, we can like breathe a little bit, like we can kind of move on. As sad as it is moving on, it's like, okay, we've completed the checkerboard a little bit, and now it's like, what comes next?
The checkerboard is gone.
it's such a weird
The
parallel.
checker game is done.
Like, it's a weird parallel to where if you look at it, like 14 months ago when another milestone part of it ended, a lot of people were not sad and happy. They were pissed off. So,
I am, not to jump into the episode already, but I am so happy. Like when that show ended, I had a very bad taste in my mouth. I was like, man, like that's how we're leaving this legacy. Yeah. And while Superman and Lois is not technically Earth Prime anymore, I do feel like it symbolizes the end of this era of like TV shows. So it's like, that's how you do it. That represents, I think, everything these shows kind of stood for over these last 12 years, right? Yeah, it's 12 years. Yeah. So
12, yeah. Unless you count Smallville, then 23. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Which, I mean, technically it's connected.
Yeah. And it's just weird to think, as I was telling some of these guys earlier, it's weird to think that we're on the other side of it now. Like, next week, there's not going to be any more.
Yeah.
Bro, don't make me cry already.
You know what? I'm fine. Because now I get to take that channel off my cable package. And
Yeah.
Like,
the only reason why I have Xfinity is so I could get the CW. So I mean, I don't. My wife's on here. We can get rid of cable and just keep the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, Superman and Lois is the last thing that I was, setting up to DVR. Everything else is streaming now.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying years ago that, like as soon as this last season ended, that I was going to get rid of the CW app off of my desk. And then after I watched the finale, I was like, oh, wait, it's actually done now. Holy shit. Like this is actually settling in.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was really alluding to with last year's, where they're like, oh wait, that's how you do it. It's this time around, it's like, yes, that's how you do it.
Wait, Flash was last year?
Yeah,
um,
2023.
May
Wow.
last year.
What?
It feels like 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
right before the movie. Yeah,
I don't want
Brain,
to,
I don't want it to come back up.
but like a thing is
I feel-
because of last. So,
Get that up.
and from everything I've been hearing y'all about this show, I think that it's like this is what you could do with DC, and dare I say it, it might have done better than what the DCEU did in terms of finale.
Oh, it did do better.
well,
Oh, in
I
terms
think
of
this is going to set the
well,
this is going
yeah.
to set the standard going forward.
well, considering the DCEU didn't really have a finale of sorts, like that the last movie that came out wasn't set up to end anything, and it didn't.
yep.
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
we
this is how
count
you do a
Flash?
finale right.
No, Flash was supposed to be the last thing to come out,
It
but
was.
they delayed it so way that you had Blue Beetle, Blue Beetle coming out, you had
Yeah, I knew
Aquaman
that.
coming out and everything, and then Shazam 2. No, but yeah, Blue Beetle wasn't bad, but saying Shazam 2 was it was supposed to come out after Flash, which is also they explain why they had different suits in the previous flashback to the first film, because it's supposed to be like a flashpoint, a
Right,
reboot,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But still in the pre-Hamada, prison of slavery on the cotton field type stuff, because but that's but anyway, still basically trying to move forward without a plan, throw away the plan, execute the plan, throw away the plan.
Just out of curiosity,
Planning off
have
the
you guys
rails.
seen anybody do like an homage video for CW with the Green Day music like they did for Deadpool?
Yeah.
Next.
I want to see that.
That'd
I'm
be
gonna put
great.
that out
If
for
someone-
the
Well, they're making it. They're currently
It's out
editing.
there already. Yeah.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
videos, but I know people have done like their own little collages over TikTok on it.
Yeah.
Three Dubs has done something. I wish he was not probably knocked out somewhere. He
I
has
told
said
you
he's
he
been
got a
like
date.
he said he's been like wore out and tired. So yeah. So
Cool.
wherever
Okay.
you are, 3 Dubs, I miss you.
But can I, man?
No, we don't.
I make a statement here, and this is the part where I say you can bring your tissues here, because I like last night. I thought it's something like the finale they did actually top Smallville, in my personal opinion.
It was.
But I don't want to compare those two, because those two shows had using the character Superman, but had different intentions in terms of how they're going to resolve those arcs in different positions of those characters, right?
Yeah.
And I think both are great. Yeah, and both are great in their own way. But again, I think it's also the irony of it is to have the renaissance of DC television start here with Smallville, only to end in a beautiful way with this show, and yet having another renaissance of DC films and stuff with Superman next year. And it's beautiful. But what last night showed you, and the fact that they were a limited budget season, right? And it shows you that some people that are narrow-minded in terms of who Superman is will not be able to receive the blessing that we got last night, because this show expand the horizon, and also almost basically gave a master class of how you just do a basic Superman story, is that you literally make him human. Now you can say it figuratively, like give him a heart of a human and all that stuff, and make him have a short life expectancy. You can go as far just to say, hey, let's actually put him in human situations and circumstance. Let's make him a husband. Let's make him a father.
Yeah.
And then I see some of these people, when the first show came out, like when season came out, I don't want to see Superman as a dad. And it was the same thing when Peter Parker, the new run of Spider-Man going Ultimate Spider-Man, and him being a dad and husband and stuff like that. Like, people don't want to see that. And I think I understand there's such thing as terms of having an image of a particular character and during a time, but at the same time, just only to pigeonhole character and freeze them in time, but yet have the opportunity to expand on their lore in an interesting way. Because this show did everything what people say in comic book stories would not do. They took that took an adaptation, they changed and create characters that didn't originally exist in comics. They tried to divide or tried to make a bowl of different comic storylines, weave them together. And yet you think on paper this is too much, but actually watching this was cohesively explained and throughout to a point where the finale wrapped up in a beautiful way. Even use a character like Doomsday, who is not Bizarro turned Doomsday in the comics, but what they did here was actually made one of the most iconic villains of Superman, who is just a more of the time mindless. He's a he's a plot point. He's not really a character. He's a plot point in the death of Superman, right? He's not really a character. You actually gave him a sense of relatability and also sadness to that. You actually made this person a character. And
they
made
took Superman Doomed and flipped it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a fact that scene of him just doing and it comes to realization now. I don't know whether that was because Steel, the hammer hit him in the head and basically made him like kind of his consciousness kind of come back only for like a split second. But it was the fact that like, no, he said stop because no, I'm back. I'm about to get what I want now. And then the fact of like the flashbacks of everything that came to him is like, no, please. It reminded me of Solomon Grundy and Shira Hawk Girl from Justice League Unlimited when he was mind controlled and to the point where it had no one could stop him except for Hawk Girl's axe or whatever. I forgot the hammer. What you call it? Ace, right? And basically in the sewer, he just looks down to her. I mean, she looks down to him, and he just like, yeah, please take me out of my misery. And that it was like I have not over 20 years. I have not seen a moment that replicated that until last night.
Yep.
And I think that's really powerful. Again, I haven't gotten to the other stuff that made me cry, but like with that, talking about forgiveness, when even in the afterlife, we think this person deserves to go to hell and all of it. But at the end of the day, all of us have a call that we have to answer, which is forgiveness. Because we never actually retreat true peace until we forgive. Even a person that probably don't even deserve it, we're called to it. And I think that's when that scene showed up, where people were like, wait, why is Lex Luthor? It's at his only as and
he death. Was boo-hooing though.
He was trying too. Think about this. Let's say there was more seasons. They could have done something like, hey, we actually see an arc of Lex Luthor actually feeling a sense of remorse of what he has done, right? And this is reality.
They did it with Bruno. They did it with Bruno this season.
Right, and you got a little bit of it with Lex, but they also showed that like he's just so absorbed in his hatred that he just can't let it go.
Yeah, he was just way too far gone at that point.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying. But even the point of at the end of the day, because this is like there was a gap of time from there to the finale of Clark and Lois's death and everything. It was 32 years, right? So just because someone, no matter how long it might have been, for Lex it was 20 plus, whatever. Yes, he has atoned for his sins, being in life in prison, all this stuff. But what happens when he actually comes to terms be in the chair, comes to terms of his actions and realizing, man, I've messed up. I'm an evil person. And thinking of giving you this self-pity, like I don't deserve that. And then even to that point with people in our lives, anybody, we have a person like, I can't forgive this person what they did. Maybe that might be true. And I'm not discounting what they might have done to you. But even then, there's a point where these people are also hurt as well. That they're actually feeling maybe the same guilt that you might be feeling of not forgiving them. And so it's like in that scene, he's like, when Clark reaches over his hand, it's like forgiveness. And then he disappeared. That's what it is. I'm leaving you off the hook. I don't have to be buddy with you. We ain't family and all that stuff. Means I have now washed that chink in my armor off of me.
And to say that to the person who basically killed you, I mean,
yeah.
Damn.
That takes a lot of strength and humility, which is why Superman is the strongest DC character. It's not about how much you can lift. That's the thing. It's like, man, I'm not strong enough to forgive that person who did this to me. But then what happens to somebody who's like, man, you have a lot of guts. Yes, because he's fucking Superman.
Yeah, I mean, that really was kind of the most Superman thing for him to do, Yeah. It is the literal definition of the character.
And that's what I think is probably one of, if not the best things about this show, or like over, the past 3-4 years that it's been on, is that they just understand Superman. Like, they know what makes him who he is, and his optimism, the hope he instills in everybody who meets him, but also that he's not perfect, or else what would be the point of a show of exploring his character? They show that he makes mistakes, but everybody else too. Like, these characters are actually real characters. They feel like real people. They're not just stagnant. They don't have
Dalton. Exactly.
They don't have a new piece of drama their way every couple of episodes that lasts every couple of episodes. They learn and they grow and they develop, and you actually see them acting like what real people would do and what you would optimistically want real people to do. Because sometimes whenever they do that thing where you're like, oh, why'd you do that? Oftentimes we as humans would slip and do that too. So you see both what we would do and what we would want to do.
And
sorry, I know that was a long.
No, I completely get that. And in keeping with that theme, I think what he did, if this was still the Todd Helbing, the Greg Berlanti that wrote the episodes of The Flash and Supergirl. If this was still them back in early 2014, this message could have went over so bad. Because let's think about this. If this was one of the episodes of Supergirl that did at times get super preachy, she would have probably in her after I couldn't forgive him. Even though he did such and such and such and such, even though I went through such, I couldn't forgive him. It could have went over so bad, but they learned. They learned from the past mistakes of other shows in a time when Tyler was cast as Superman 8 years ago.
2016.
Yeah.
In a time when the higher ups, when they didn't know what to do with Superman, when they were gonna throw him,
they were gonna bury the character.
They're gonna bury him, put him on the shelf, say forget about him. The CW said no, we're gonna take him. They say, okay, take him for 2 episodes. Tyler gets cast. Tyler comes in, wows the audience with the first 2 episodes. They say, you know what? We're still not doing nothing with him. Take him for 2 more episodes. Shows up in the finale. That's when they start doing the weird stuff with you know how old CW was. Even the old CW gave us.
Oh wait, she's stronger.
Yeah, you can't be stronger than the title character of the show. But then they say, you know what? The following year, yeah, he can be in those worlds. And then that's
let's bring in Lois.
Let's bring in Lois. And then that's when we get introduced to the other side of Tyler Hoechlin that can play. We get to see the side of him that can play a villain. So he gets to be regular Superman and John Deegan. And then the next year, we're gonna bring him back. You can take him again. And you know what? Take Brandon Routh Superman too.
And you know what? And this time we're gonna give Superman a son and show how he has a little bit of those father instincts.
Yep. And it's just like in a time when the higher ups had no faith in him, the CW, because if you think about it, Todd Helbing, when he left The Flash, that's when Greg Berlanti approached him with this show.
Yeah.
It took him, and I'm glad he didn't try to rush to get it on the air, because this show could have went the way of that Wonder Girl show.
Oh yeah, that Yara Floor show. Yeah,
this show could have went so bad, or it could have not gotten greenlit in the first place. This show could have went the way of Naomi.
Imagine if this wasn't the one that got picked up, and Green Arrow and the Canaries got picked up instead.
Exactly. This show, Todd, shout my hats off to Todd. I hated what he did with some of the stuff on The Flash, but he took this, applied his real life to it. Bro, a grounded Superman, it's grounded, but at the same time, it's not. That's a concept that was over my head back then. I didn't know. I said, so this is just going to be Smallville again? Like, that was like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, we had Smallville. We got Supergirl. So, like, what are we doing? Like, is he going to be suited up? But then, like, once they started elaborating more, and he's like, he's going to have 2 sons, and I can relate. Bro, the first teaser, which was not even a teaser, it was just, we're just seeing pictures, flashing it out on the screen. I was locked in. I said, this is what we need.
Right. I'm just seeing the back chat just now. I just saw the back chat. I didn't notice it the whole time. I just didn't notice it. But no, you're right, Lance. No, listen, you're absolutely right. And I think this is when I went to Comic-Con and, to see their first and only, time a presence of being at Comic-Con was Oh, you were. I mean, seriously, right? But there was also just a sense of humility and grace and appreciation they had to the audience.
Yeah.
Because again, this show came out in the midst of during with COVID and everything,
Yeah.
and again, and that the first trailer of this show set a tone where it kind of shift everybody like, wait, it's giving
Yeah.
like movie level, wherever. I'm like, mind you, we are already 6 shows deep in this at this time. And I'm like, oh, here's another Superman, or the DC show, whatever. And it's like, wait, hold up. And then we're seeing the intro, like the opening 8 minutes. Yeah. And then here we go see the last 8 minutes with the same score. And then it's just different, modified and stuff, right? And I'm just like, to me, and then she was also talking about like, hey, well, James actually came talk to us and we have conversations and stuff. She's like, guys, DC Universe is in good hands. And this is the part where I'm not trying to go on a little minor rant here, but with this show, even with a different writer, and stuff like that, you have people that understand who this character is and what he represents. When the conversation came with his wife, Lois Lane, hey, what will be our legacy? Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. But the delivery was not cheesy nor forced.
Nope.
It was genuine.
Tyler knows what Tyler just knows this. God, he just knows this character, man.
And this, I will say this is the best Lois Lane we have gotten so far.
Hands down.
The best Lois Lane and arguably the best Lex Luthor.
Yeah, because listen, when he shaved, the previous episodes, when he shaved into clean shave in a suit, I forgot there's like one image in the comics where he's just standing over his desk, like in a black, or a purple suit and stuff like that, my screen is frozen. There we go. But yeah, like it was just like, but you had all details in his face and his bald head and everything. I'm like, that was ripped right from the comics, So I was just like, yeah, and this should not also be led by, because listen, we had a previous Lex Luthor, right, in this, and not saying that was bad, whatever, but I'm just saying you learn from your mistakes or past attempts, and like, no, we can change if we want to, and like, so yeah.
Apparently, if your name is Michael, then you'll have a good chance of playing Luthor. That's what I'm noticing. But,
hey, I mean, listen, I can shave my head. I mean,
and even then with John Cryer was
right.
Head. He was right for that universe.
He started great.
Yeah.
I don't know if John Cryer can. I'm not taking nothing from his take, but I can't see John Cryer taking on this version of Superman.
No.
Yeah. And I think
you also never got to see. You never got to see him interact with Tyler Hoechlin either.
Nope, because he was Supergirl's Lex Luthor.
Even when they appeared together in like Crisis and stuff, they never had.
Yeah, they didn't appear.
He only interacted with Smallville Superman, right?
Yep.
Smallville
When he punched
Superman,
them, he's like, "You took your powers." Yeah.
And then like you see them in I think one single scene together whenever he makes Tyler Hoechlin and Brandon Routh fight each other, and that's it.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Taz?
No, I think that brings up a very interesting point, is the whole debate on whether or not Superman and Lois should have been more connected to Earth Prime and everything like that. And everybody kind of said that they were, not everybody, but a majority of the fan base, or a section of the fan base, said that they wanted it connected by the finale. And I think they made 100% the right call, keeping it very much so separate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes, the first introduction to this version of Superman and Lois was on Supergirl's Earth that eventually merged into Earth Prime and everything like that. So we kind of thought that this show was Earth Prime from season 1. Season 2 flipped that on its head. We weren't very happy with that when that happened, but I think the way that the show progressed, the story it was trying to tell, the way in which it really made it so much so a deep character study and a dissection of these characters that we're used to. I don't think they could have done it as well if they had to still connect it to this larger world. If, hey, we still needed to worry about this big multiversal threat, or, Oliver shows up as the Spectre and, is there at Clark's death or something like that. I think that would have completely taken away from the, almost smaller scale, very interpersonal relationships and the I guess direct vision of this show, which was just to show us the life of Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And I think they did a perfect job at that.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to rely on anything else around it too. Like impacting it on their own. That means they got to tell the story they wanted, and they didn't have to play by the rules of 6 other shows that were connected.
Exactly.
That's a big problem that a lot of them suffered later. And there's always been that debate of, like, oh, did they know early or did it come later? It was either a late decision and, they just kind of played it safe. So there wasn't a definitive yes or no until they knew that there wanted to be. But, like the fact that, definitely, I will agree with that for sure.
He technically did audition. He auditioned for Man of Steel.
Right.
Yeah.
But look at that tone, and from what I've seen of this tone, like, to me, I'll never forget it, guys. Like, because again, I haven't fully seen the show, but seeing that opening episode when they do the homage to Action Comics, and the kid's like, "Whoa, nice suit!" Yeah. Thanks, my mom made
That
Oh
still hands down one of my favorite scenes.
I would not have seen that in the films. Like that. That wasn't. I'm telling you, that felt like Justice League Unlimited, man.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
That whole flashback episode that's a part of is still, I think, one of the best things the show ever did.
I'm
100%.
Because they showed you all that stuff in the past that you expect with Superman. They showed you that it's there and exists, but that wasn't the main crux of his character. Like, he was still very much in the here and now.
And then what makes this version, and then this is gonna lead us into the greater Arrowverse, greater DCTV verse conversation. Is I took the time to go back and pick up my Earth Prime comic for Superman and Lois. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, in this, it seemed like he got down to the bottom of the barrel with some of his villains. We had their version of Parasite. We literally got their version of what his new Zod would be, which was his brother. Well, we also did get Zod inside of his body.
Mhm.
So we had Zod, we had Atom Man, some random meta that shot fire through the same cannons that they were shooting the kryptonite gas from.
We got sea-level gang leaders.
Yeah, Bruno Mannheim,
right?
Bizarro, Doomsday.
We got a Green Arrow villain in Onomatopoeia in a Superman show.
Yeah.
And then when I look back at that book, he literally fought the weird villain from one of those Superman movies with the I'm forgetting his name.
The Nuclear Man.
He fought the Nuclear Man.
Yeah.
He fought this version of Superman. Already fought and defeated Lobo. Like this version of Supes did so much. Like they added so much to this character from even before the show started.
And there was Metallo stuff in there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember there being that because I think even Supergirl had their own version.
They do, right?
And then it did. So
that's amazing. I'm sorry.
This no, they had
there was a version of Metallo. Yeah.
But this leads me to the fact of this show wouldn't, and I won't say wouldn't be possible, but this show wouldn't have had the legs if it were not for the other CW shows like Smallville,
100%.
Flash, Supergirl, Black Lightning, Arrow.
Give them as much shit as you want. You would not have this.
You would not have this without them. And even going as far as saying different DC TV shows throughout the past, like since Smallville started, you got Gotham, Titans, Doom Patrol, even as even as bad as it was, Powerless.
Stargirl. One thing.
Stargirl. Stargirl was ahead of its time. Stargirl was Superman and Lois before Superman and Lois. I'm sorry.
I think they're random thought, but I think their finales are on the same level as far as Stargirl and Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
100%. I think that they both pay homage to the show in a perfect way and kind of leave it on a and so the story continues kind of note as well.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
Yeah. So it's like all the characters that we've been introduced to throughout the years are characters that the films would not have thought twice to do.
Right.
We literally got a fully fleshed out Kid Flash. We got the Hawks. As bad as they were at times.
I don't care. We got the Hawks.
We got Hawks. We got
Martian Manhunter.
We got Mark.
Even though he was in human form a lot of the time,
we still got Martian Manhunter.
Right.
We got Elongated Man. which you know
Yeah.
that stuff happened, but
Bro,
it's just like
we got elongated man, bro.
that's what I'm
Deep
saying
cut.
now. That like
We got
it's
Vibe.
oh.
No one knew who that was before.
Nobody knew who
No.
Vibe was.
The
No.
Spectre.
Nobody knew who Vibe was.
Spectre. We got
Bro,
Spectre.
that's
deep cuts, man.
And
Oh.
they brought back Matt Ryan's Constantine into this because
took the
Yes.
words out of my mouth. I was just about to say
Yeah.
that. We cannot forget about Constantine. That was
and kind of
DCTV
pseudo
before
wrapped up that
DCTV.
series in a way too.
yeah, because the finale
Yeah.
never aired.
Yeah.
I would argue there is no current DC brand without these TV shows just keeping what they could afloat, right?
I agree.
There would be an
100%.
entire generation, at least like my generation of people who are like, yeah, I don't know DC. I've never seen DC because it's the movies that a lot of people, let's be honest, didn't see, or the characters they didn't do. And then what was before that? Like the animated stuff back in like the like 90s. Like they were like the quality of these shows or not. If you're a fan of it, I don't really care if you are or not. But they were at least putting stuff out every single year. What, like 5 shows with 22 episodes.
Crossovers, like all of it.
Crossovers,
Like
yeah.
that's like they might listen.
Crossover events that were better than movies.
We
Right,
got a
not only
better
that, it
shoot
would be
and
a temp. We
arguably a
got
better
Hall of
Justice
Justice.
League.
And
We have the Hall of
moments.
Justice.
Bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro,
Like
nobody-
moments, dude. Like I always tell people, like even though I don't watch all these shows, what the CW Arrowverse, I'm calling that because that's what it should be called. This Arrowverse did what the animated series did for me as a kid. That like
Yeah.
before I got to comics, that
Yeah.
was like, okay, I know who the Question is.
Yeah.
I know who. I know. Okay, Green Arrow and Black Canary. Okay, they're a thing. Cool. For a
Huntress.
lot of kids, this is going to be their
Mhm.
unlimited like animated series, if you will. Like
That's a
it's
really good
yeah.
comparison.
If
Yeah.
someone should have taken that last statement that Ronan just said and told it to the Arrow writers.
But even then, like
I think it was-
for example,
it was
I'll never
reference-
forget. It was a big deal when I think it's Elseworlds episode when Kara and Barry first met. And if I'm not mistaken, they did do the racing thing, which again,
They did.
Yeah.
They
the
did.
movies.
That wasn't.
Yeah, that was at the end of-
Elseworlds.
That wasn't quite-
it was
Supergirl
that was
season
the
1.
It was on
first- that was
Supergirl.
season 1.
There we
Yeah.
go.
That was
Yeah.
World's Finest, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
World
That was-
We
Finest,
went
that's
against
it.
Livewire and Shadowcat, or whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Uh,
Livewire.
Silver Banshee.
Silver Banshee.
Yeah.
There you
Bro,
go.
we had Silver Banshee and we had Silver Banshee in Smallville,
Right.
but they did a better version of it. 3W.
We got the Guardian. It's
Bro,
Jimmy Olsen.
We
and
got
he's black.
We got 2 Guardians, bro. 2 Guardians.
I
So,
mean,
I don't
we
know why
technically
they call
also got Brainiac too. Don't forget
Yeah,
that.
We got it.
Brainiac
Brainiac.
5.
Brainiac 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
Brainiac 5.
and
True.
you know what? As limited as it was, we got the Legion of Superheroes to an
Bruh.
extent.
Yeah.
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 And like
We got Toy Man, but we got a good version of. They made Winslow Shot. They made him have. They created him a son and made him one of the most lovable. When he left the show, bro, I was devastated. I was pissed
Yeah.
when he left the show. I was pissed, bro. We got Red Tornado.
Mr. Mixes Pidlick.
We
Mr. Black. Yeah.
Again, it's crazy you say that. I'm like, oh shit, that actually did happen in
Yeah.
live action and
Yeah,
whatnot.
and you know, like, have your problems with this or not, they put arguably the biggest comic storyline in DC Comics ever, Christ on Infinite Earths, to the small screen.
we
Have
got
your
Ezra
problems
Miller's
with it or not,
Flash.
they put that on the small screen. They tied in all these things that you never thought you would see connected. They
Kevin
tied
Mark
Conroy
in
Hamill.
in live action.
Yeah.
They
Like,
tied in the
Mark
Kevin
Hamill,
Conroy.
John Wesley Shipp.
Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
the 90s
But then-
Flash, Birds of Prey.
Linda Carter.
We got
Actually,
Kevin
Scott
Conroy
is back
in
to Birds of
live
Prey as
action.
Huntress. Yeah,
We
yeah.
got Kevin
like-
Conroy in live action.
Yeah.
That-
Like, but
that-
Darren said something
never
key there
happened.
that like they went out of the way again at the time, the circumstances that they got Ezra in the TV crossovers.
Bro,
Yeah, they reached out to them.
They
Which
Probably
says a
their
lot
best
about
They snuck
Yeah.
him into Vancouver and filmed that when nobody was on set. So not even the star. The only persons that knew was Stephen Amell, Greg Gustin, and the producers that were there that day to film
Yeah.
that scene. And then
somehow that didn't get
it
out.
looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it looked that good. Like that's crazy to me.
And
It looked
somehow,
that good.
some way, that didn't get out because a lot of the big appearances in Crisis
Dude.
had either been announced or leaked. You like,
Bro,
That was right during
Birthday
COVID.
party.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right around COVID,
Darren, I was
2020.
trying to forget
Yeah.
about that.
And I think Mike said it. Somebody brought up the Hall of Justice. Like I remember that scene, that clip blowing up, and I was just like, "Wow, man!" Like
That Wonder
There are
Twins
some
piece,
nerds
man.
in this people writing these shows, man. These are nerds. These are my
Yeah.
people right here, and it's just like
Bro,
I wish some of y'all would have sneaked into the movies and just
Yeah.
like hang
Bro,
out
let's-
there a bit, if you will. Like,
let's just think about this. This is back when the CW was saving shows. We would not have Black Lightning if it was not
Nope.
for the old regime at the CW. And
Yeah.
and let's
Same
not,
thing.
they gave up Black Lightning when it first premiered.
Yeah.
It was so different. It literally
Yeah.
had so many creators like just creating videos on it, talking about like how juxtaposed it was against the other shows.
Yeah.
You have a black superhero coming out of retirement. He was the oldest main character that
Yeah.
we had on screen. I think
Yeah.
Superman and Lois Clark is literally right up under Jefferson
Yeah.
Pierce in age. He was the oldest character. Superman and Lois may have perfected the whole family superhero aspect, but Black Lightning set the standard for a superhero
Yeah.
family
For
on
family.
screen.
You're 100%
And-
right.
And the fact that they were people of color made it all better for me.
Yeah.
Like they handled it so well. They didn't try to give Jen her suit right from the jump like so many other people wanted them to do. And Superman and Lois took that and perfected it because Jordan was not ready for a real super suit until
No.
season 4. Jonathan just got powers out of the blue and he's just flying around all willy-nilly
Yeah,
in the black wetsuit. He was not ready. Like they did it right. As many people, why didn't they give them to him earlier? Why did they wait so long? They planned
They
this out.
earned it.
Everything's
They earned
planned.
it.
We got the Superman fan. Let's talk about speaking on that. The shot. Listen, there's only probably maybe 2 or 3 people that was missing. Power Girl, Kara, Connor Kent, Crypto, but we had Crypto, but he wasn't flying. He's a regular dog.
And
But it's
Kenan-
okay. So we're
and
getting him
Sean-
next year.
And the
So it's fine.
Superman of China. I still
Yeah.
want to see him in live action. Why?
So
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
but still, to have the flying pose picture, like
Bro,
Like,
bro, they took so many comic panels and made them
Right.
live action.
it felt like we were watching a movie.
Jorge
Yeah.
Jimenez cover of Superman flat. Bro,
Yep.
Like, and again, you said that the CW back then was saving shows, and again, different circumstances of how the production worked. But like, this was also the place that, like, for one scene, brought Lucifer and John Constantine together and be like, "Hello, Lucy."
Yep.
John. And it's just like, again,
Yeah,
the
you're right.
metrics. The I can't imagine the lawyers having to work that out at that time and being like, and us fans being like, "There it is. That's as good as
Yeah.
it's gonna get,"
Bro,
and just
being
run with it.
Just
Lucifer?
the fact that all of this happened is such an incredible feat.
Yeah.
And the fact that it happened on network television,
Yeah,
on the CW of all networks.
yeah.
And their budgets
Like-
kept getting smaller and smaller, and they kept making
Yeah.
it work.
Yeah. It is a testament to, I guess, the outreach that these characters can have if they are promoted to the right audience and if they are
Yeah.
done in the right way with the correct creatives behind the scenes that are actually passionate about these characters and their stories.
Yeah.
And I think if we could somehow replicate that in this new DCU or going forward into whatever else, wherever else we see new DC characters, even spreading as far as to Marvel, to Star Wars, like if you could just get the same passion and drive from the creatives and the actors and, the crew that are involved in these projects, like it would be amazing.
And also,
Yeah.
I also think it needs to be known, or like it needs to be more accepted to be able to make mistakes, because the
Right.
CW makes mistakes.
This
They
is where
make a
Taj
lot.
comes in. This is where Taj comes in because I know he ready.
Like-
know he ready. I said
But
we're
like-
not holding back. Go ahead, Darren.
Like, imagine if at every downfall they're like, "Oh, Arrow season 3."
I hold your
Okay,
gloves, by the way. I
let's-
hold your
yeah.
gloves.
let's rework it all. Let's change it up. Let's recast the things. Like, that's been a problem with a lot of Marvel and DC, where it's like, "Oh, well, we fucked up. Okay, so let's just start
Right.
all over again." So
They
no,
kept going.
they kept going. No matter how low the ratings got, no matter how bad storylines got. Well, that sucked. All right, well, let's start with the next season. Like, they had to. They had no choice.
Right.
And I felt like it or not, like if you enjoyed these shows or not, like they kept going. They kept giving us more and more and more. And honestly, I think that's kind of wholesome, just to be like, this is what you like. This is what we have, good and bad. Take what you want. Hope you enjoy it, but this is what we have to offer. And I think
Which
that's
echoes
cool.
what the comics always done. Look back at how much comics have done, and like I remember at the time, people, Mr. Polka Dot Man for the longest was a joke, and not too long ago, somebody made him an endearing character that you care for. And so imagine what this network could do.
I actually
kind of like what you were saying with the comics and these shows, like there were some lows in both of them. Like no one is denying the lows, but when they were good, they were good.
There is no other, I think, like live action, like comic book comparison to the comics. I think the Arrowverse wise, because like, look, we had like 800 episodes across all the things. Like, that's just like a comic book. Because we're like, well, where do I start? We're like, I don't know, just pick somewhere, I guess.
Right.
Like,
pick your favorite character. Pick chronological order. Pick release
that's
order,
how you
whichever.
would pick what you read back in the day. You would just pick whatever you liked. And that's what I think one of the best things about specifically Superman and Lois is the thing that really sold people whenever I would try to, encourage them to watch the show is like they knew that it was like that it had come off of all those shows that had come before. But I said, no, you don't have to watch any of that stuff prior there. You don't have to do that, because that's what had a lot of them so worried. They were like, wait, do I have to watch like 5-6 shows to know what happens? I said, no, you can just go in and watch it. And they did, and they loved it. Damn it.
Yep.
I can't
Damn it,
deny.
Chainsaw.
I can't deny it. If
I
3
saw
Dubs
it for
would
the
turn
clip,
his
and I was
camera
just
on,
like,
he cried
bravo.
too.
And as I was saying, like early this morning, that doesn't happen for me a lot, especially in like these TV shows and things like that. Like I said, I got a little bit emotional during the Oliver Queen John Diggle reunion in Arrow last year. I got a little bit emotional.
I
there,
lost
but
access, bro. I lost access. My fault, Jake. I lost access, so I'm just here doing it regular. Unless you want to
Cash App. Put the Cash App. No, put the Cash App. Put the link in the chat.
Here, bring him a dollar bill and then drive home. Can I say what got me most? Like, I think
out of the whole thing. Or?
Yeah, like the Superman thing was obviously very sad, but I was kind of like slightly like suspecting. I was like, okay, like me and Taz talked about this last week. Like, this is a possibility.
Sorry.
What I was not expecting was Lois. Lois took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Like the gut punch of the cancer came back. Those words. Yeah. I'll be honest, it took me out. Like, I was like, no.
Yeah, that's where the waterworks started for me.
Like, it felt like a member of my family. I felt like I just learned my aunt had cancer again or something. Like, I was like, no, they can't do this. Like, after watching 13 episodes last season of her fighting, and she won, she beat it. That feeling was so beautiful. And then being like, just like the real world, after learning someone you love beat it, it's like it comes back, and that's so real.
And a lot of people critique season 3 for being too hard hitting on that, but they went with it.
But even then, she even said it. She even said it at Comic-Con, like, no, we're not trying to make no pretty cancer on television. Yeah. And I'm like, and listen, that is so much huge respect, because a lot of actors, in studios, they want to give the whole, I'm in a depression, but my makeup is all, pressed and everything, the hair is all that stuff, right? But the thing about it is that the authenticity that you mentioned about previous CW, they will make that arc so anticlimactic to a point where literally, and God forbid it to anybody, this happens to just, we all been, had experiences. But Lily, you have a point. If this was a previous CW, people are like, oh, okay, here the cancer came back again. Oh, when's she gonna die? Oh man, okay. Oh, wait, now she got melanoma now. Okay. Oh, all right. Now here's another thing. Oh wait. Oh, she lost a leg. Damn it. Okay. That's how previous CW would be anticlimactic on stuff, and this is show the malpractice of how to know emotionally. You don't have to overdo it. Even then, like, and to your point, Taz, talking about this current, the next phase of DC, that when you have that same emotion again, you have to watch a show that's coming out this Thursday or Friday. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. But I'll just say that thread continues of that intentionality characters, and especially on emotional, where they're not reckless with emotional trauma, because there's such thing as trauma dumping and stuff like it. And listen, this is CW we're talking about, like the Vampire Diaries, the
This is the network for drama.
Yeah,
Right.
Riverdale.
Riverdale.
And you could tell early on that they were going to handle that stuff a lot better than other shows because, like, what is it? It's like within the first 3 episodes of the show, they talk about Lois's miscarriage that happened, and it's like, okay,
bro. When we found out about the miscarriage,
if this were a worse show, that would have been handled so much
bro.
better.
Yeah. I remember being very scared when they announced that Lana was going to be in the show. I was like, "Oh God, please don't do it."
Yeah, don't make no love triangle.
Don't.
Right.
God damn
real
it,
quick.
do it.
And they made Lana
real quick.
They made Lana a character in this series.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
I actually loved the way they kind of ended her off.
You know what I was scared about? Do you know what I was
really
scared
did.
about? When they first let it be known that John Henry Irons was married to Lois on his Earth, and how he was acting when
and the black man trying to take the white man's wife.
When he says, Lois, you're not my wife. I know that. I said, oh, thank God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And when he says to Nat, when he says to Nat, like, she's not your mother.
Because all I could think about was Barry. All I could think about was Barry when he went to Earth 2.
Oh,
and he was like, but it was still like, bro, you really let their deaths affect you when you came back.
Well, people be that delusional.
They're not your people, bro. Like, chill out. Like, Flashpoint. But Wally got hurt bad, so I don't want him out there. I said, bro, you erased that timeline. Like,
no, do you understand? I'm not fast enough. See, I'm not strong enough. I don't know if I can beat him.
We're already getting into the negatives now.
Tosh, I want to let you out of floor because I honestly, Flash's finale, like being the latest one, this knocks Flash's finale. The only part of Flash's finale that I loved was when he's basically like when he birthed out all the new speedsters.
Yeah,
that was the actual ending.
Yeah, that final shot is fantastic.
Yeah,
I love that.
Whenever that episode focuses on Barry, it's actually good. Unfortunately, 95% of the time, it doesn't do that.
It's Cecile. At least it's not as bad as Supergirl. No touching without consent.
Damn it! Why'd you have to remind me of that?
I listen. That Supergirl finale is split down the middle for me. Where that first half of all the fighting sucks, but I love all the wedding stuff. Like once they cut away and they focus on that stuff, and like,
hey,
what Supergirl is good at
ended with the wedding. I just both of the shows ended with the wedding.
Yep,
I just realized that.
And both final seasons ended with an identity reveal.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, the Superman and Lois finale ended very similarly to the Arrow finale too.
It did. Yeah.
Yes, but better. But
I think it took elements of every single other finale, and was like, I'm gonna do all of that, but better.
But
and all at the same time.
We're gonna leave out all the bad stuff.
The final fight. Fight from Arrow though will never.
I will give credit there.
That final scene, I rewatched that all the time. That final fight was amazing.
Yeah.
I said, Steven, this is what we've been missing for the past few years. OG Arrow. Like, put the old hood on and fight like that all the time.
How can Superman and Lois write like a perfect season 4 like last season, but Flash just like fumbled?
Because Eric Wallace wanted to.
I'm sorry, was that my conscious?
There's only.
It was funny because that I wish we would have left the John Diggle Arrow thing alone, because then people wouldn't have had constant questions. Like, have it at the end of Arrow and then let our minds do the work from there. Because every time you kept bringing it back, it's like, okay, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?
They almost ruined John Diggle for me. They were really close for him, like being like, I cannot do this anymore. Like everyone was like, maybe John Diggle was in this final season of Lois. I was like, God, please, I cannot do it again.
I'm sorry for giving you that theory. I'm sorry. I am very guilty of that.
Oh, wait, it was you that gave that theory. That's right.
Yeah.
No, remember when
I'm guilty of that. I was like, it would make sense if he showed up. Like he's popped up a couple times before.
Y'all remember when that creator, when Gotham Knights was on? The creator was like,
my favorite show.
John Diggle said, David Ramsey said that that Gotham Knights and Superman were in the Gotham verse, and they're in the same world.
I do remember that.
I said, bro, like I literally had to. I talked some sense into bro. I'm like, bro, he never said any of this stuff. You're literally making up stuff. And you admitted it on social media that you made this up, but you're still sticking with it.
Social
There
media
is
making up
no
stuff?
super-
Nah.
Come on, we're in the Superverse now.
Nah.
That was a crazy era.
Hey,
Oh, that was
you guys remember
what a
back-
time! What a time to
guys,
be alive.
Yeah,
man.
you guys remember back when Justice U was gonna happen?
But you don't understand, y'all. Listen,
I
the
forgot about
Snyderverse,
Justice U.
the Snyderverse can get restored on Netflix. But listen, they're like, it's gonna come back on Netflix. But see, it doesn't matter because everything will continue on Netflix and the Snyderverse coming back. You know, and I'm gonna have my reaction video reacting to these fake news on a thumbnail like this.
Why is it people? It's people on Facebook talking about some. Why didn't WB just sell Superman and Lois to Netflix?
Not how
The
that works.
same.
They don't
the
know how
same-
streaming works.
The same Netflix that cancels everything. That's what the Netflix that will literally cut their budget even more. Superman wouldn't be flying on Netflix. He'd be running very slowly.
They would never do it, but if anything, would have gone to probably Amazon because the way Cape Crusaders went down as well, where it's just like, nah, just ship them over there to Jeff Bezos streaming. Just
What's
give it
up,
to them.
Bill?
I'm sorry. Who the fuck thinks that Superman and Lois would thrive on Netflix? Are you just as delusional as those Snyder fans?
Oh,
Yes,
well,
they
you
are, man.
mentioned the group. You mentioned the group.
It's a lot. It's just I'm a part of the Superman and Lois group on
Facebook? Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Well, it's first of all half the theories that came from that. They said that that Talro was gonna break through the rift and take take Doomsday back. Why would you take a raging monster back to your world that's literally like still thriving? Two, they
That
said
world
they're
doesn't
gonna
have a
take.
Superman. He's gonna kill everything.
They said
And he would
Talro
be
went
more
to that
powerful
Earth
over
to
there,
be
too.
Superman. I said, why would Talro go to? He went there to start a new life, not be Superman. They said that that the heart that Lex stomped on wasn't Superman's heart, and he has it in a black box somewhere. I said, so he's been. Then the whole Lex having the panic attack in the third to last episode. They said that was Superman getting super hearing. I mean, that was Lex getting super hearing. They said that Clark was gonna get another heart transplant, making Sam's sacrifice null and void. It was so many bad theories in that group, bro. So many bad, and I just had to look. I said, "What is up with y'all?" And
That's
they
Facebook
said,
for you.
they said they were gonna kill John. They were gonna kill Jordan off at first and give Clark his heart. And then they said,
What?
then they said they were gonna take John's heart and give it to Clark. I said, and then somebody said
Clark would never
Lois
let
is-
that happen.
they said Lois was gonna die and Amanda was gonna give Clark his old heart back so he could put it in Lois.
This group has
So
more.
wait, you got the
wait.
super
Hope opera.
Superwoman Lois slain.
No, this group has more heartbreakers than a Tom Petty band.
First of all, I want to know, why do y'all think that Kryptonian powers come from an organ? I really,
Yeah.
that was my biggest question. What makes you think they come from his heart? Because if that
'Cause
was the
science-
point,
Because science, ninja. That's why. Science. Science.
because if we're being completely honest, if that was
Science.
the case, villains would go for the heart every time.
That's what Reverse Flash did with the Atom. He took his heart out. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
They went back in time.
Yeah.
They reversed it.
Hey, you know that funny thing about John? He fought Superman once.
Oh yeah.
I'm faster. Are we gonna see it? No.
Nope, we never saw it, but no.
Where did Taj go? We're about to talk the bad stuff.
That's what a lot of people theorized when Tom Cavanaugh got announced for this season, was that they were going to see some stuff after that. I said,
Yeah.
that is absolutely not happening.
Him being Gordon Godfrey was actually very
That was perfect. Actually, that was
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I actually liked it a lot more than I
Because
thought.
it wasn't like a big, global universal role either.
But he is actually a crucial or like a rememberable character of the anchor in the DC universe. I hope we see him, in the new DCU. But yeah.
Yeah.
So Phil, what has been your experience with like Arrowverse and like the DCTV in this era, like in general?
Well, let's see.
Give
like
him the
Flash.
close up. Give him the close up.
Why you got to give me the close up? I don't want the close up. Don't.
No, because
We don't do that here. Come on, man.
No, you don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
I'm no Chadwick Boseman. But we don't fucking do that here.
Okay, you know what my DMs are. Just remember.
I know, but
Oh God.
I mean, I liked Arrow fine enough. I thought season 4 was god awful. Season 5 was great, but everything after that, I was like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Flash, in my opinion, has like the best first and second seasons of them all. I love the Flash. I think the Flash is amazing, and then by season 5, it kind of peters a little bit, and then in season 6, it's just completely downhill from there. Didn't really care too much for Legends of Tomorrow. I thought Supergirl was fine. Black Lightning was amazing through and through. I love Black Lightning. Loved all of Black Lightning. You know what? Okay. Batwoman, flawed but fun. Definitely. Bowed out of Stargirl after season 1.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a hot take right there.
Whoa. Well, I gotta go, guys.
I feel personally attacked.
Look at the time. Look at the
I knew
time.
he was coming. He was about to rock it.
Has nothing to do with the quality of the show. Has nothing to do with the actress. It has.
What'd you
everything
say?
to do- I
That's
said I'm
fair,
not
though.
out of Stargirl after season 1.
To be fair, though, it is a
Because-
very if it's not for you, it's not for you. Like
Yeah.
it's a
Wasn't
very
even
content
that.
heavy.
I just could not support anything Jeff Johns did, so I bowed
That's
out
fair.
after
That's fair.
season
That's
1.
fair. That's actually fair.
Just couldn't support anything after that. You know, if you tangentially relate like Titans and Doom Patrol into that fucking Crisis crossover, okay, cool. Not really my bag. I love Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol's fucking amazing, even though it's not Arrowverse.
Yeah, Doom Patrol was amazing.
See,
And
I bowed out of that one early. I didn't even finish that.
and the irony,
Same. I
Finish it.
couldn't even finish the first season.
and the
so.
irony of
Doom
Superman
Patrol,
Right.
It
no,
was not
yeah.
for me. It was not my cup of tea. I didn't like it.
the best
It's like
version of
the-
Cyborg ever.
I don't know. I didn't vibe with it. I
Me and
just
Taz
I think
about
that
this like
I
once.
didn't
Wrong.
like the, yeah, I know.
I
I didn't
interviewed the
love
best
the tone
version
of
of
it.
Cyborg on Monday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hand up.
It was-
Sorry. What? I'm sorry.
No, okay. Now, as someone who has never seen any of these shows, is it even worth trying to go back and watch them now?
Watch
That's
That
all
is
of them.
all freaking over. 'Cause I was like,
Watch
that's
all
like-
50 seasons.
Watch
That's like
all of
trying to
them,
bring someone
but
into the
start
MCU
with
today.
start with Gotham Knights though.
Mentioning that. Thank you for mentioning that. I actually kind of like that one. It had a great ending, but it's unfortunate that it only got one season.
No, it's just
Yeah.
kind of funny, kind of just being a bit
No, I
on the
loved it.
outside of this and just hearing y'all's like Twitter rants of what people coming up with dumbass theories, especially last year. It was like somebody would come up with something. He would just say something like, "Are you just stupid?"
Are we gonna count Swamp Thing?
That's what I've been saying. I'm like,
I
it's
never
worthy
heard
of
that.
Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, and Titans are all on different Earths within the Arrowverse. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they still
I
came
would
out.
consider that
within
Arrowverse
time frame.
adjacent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I just call like everything from October 10th, 2012 to December 2nd, 2024. I just call all that stuff, connected or not, Arrowverse era.
Yeah.
Oh, so that would include Constantine. Constantine was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Constantine is
100%.
Arrowverse because
Yeah.
I
of
got
Legends of Tomorrow.
I was so mad at NBC for canceling that originally, and then they brought him back into Arrow and Legends. I was like, thank
The
you.
fact that they had to get rid of him because of now scrapped plans for Constantine, but he wasn't gonna really be Constantine.
They never
But-
did it.
Right.
He,
And it
exactly.
never happened.
So you
Right, they
got rid
never
of
did it.
you got rid of Matt Ryan's Constantine and brought him back as some random lookalike character named
And
Gwen
you-
Davies.
The
And you
amount
see
of
these-
times they've done that to us where they're like, oh, you can't use this character now because we're using them. And they never
Remember Arrow?
used them.
Arrow, they were
Deathstroke.
killing all the
Deathstroke.
Suicide
They took
Squad.
us Deathstroke from
Deathstroke.
us. They never did it. I'm so
When
pissed.
they, when they brought Deathstroke back, we could only call him.
And
Slade.
you know what happened? You know, this is the funniest offender of that. That last episode of Arrow where you see Deathstroke in early season 6, it was back in 2017. You go there and you see Justice League opening night. They have Deathstroke in the ending credits. What's airing that night on the CW? An episode of Arrow with Deathstroke in it.
Yeah.
So,
My favorite cameo was actually Tara Strong as Harley Quinn, just laughing in a cell that we never saw.
She was credited as
That's
clown,
They
clown
do it,
girl.
too.
They credited her as clown girl. I said,
yeah, and then they
Jack-
screwed over the
yeah.
whole Suicide Squad too because they used it as a test run for the movie.
Hey, do you
We're
guys
never
remember that
gonna
time?
do
More.
Bro.
Do you guys remember that time John Diggle got a lantern ring? Oh wait.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I
You,
find it
you know how
fascinating
they
that the
teased anything Green Lantern and then never paid it off in any of their shows?
Well, they
Hey,
did. They
no,
did.
no,
They
no, no,
did Flash.
Stargirl.
Yeah, they did in
Stargirl,
Flash
right.
where they
You're
said
right.
that there was a pilot. Test
Yeah,
pilot
the
went
test pilot
missing.
went missing.
Aaron,
Yes.
Arrow season 4, Arrow season 3.
It's
Oliver's
4,
in
I
a
think,
bar.
4.
Oh yeah, there's a bar. Yeah, the
He's
jacket.
at the
Yeah.
bar. He's
Yep.
at a bar, and a guy with a
Yep.
fucking jacket with the last name Jordan there. Hal Jordan
Yeah.
does exist in the
Hey,
Arrowverse.
Yeah, that's as
I
close as we're gonna
hated
get
that.
to Green Arrow and how Jordan being in the same room.
I hated that. I said, why are y'all
That was bull.
teasing us with this stuff? Y'all are teasing us.
I love it though because I'm
No
like,
reason.
People don't realize this, but even in Smallville, they had a Green Lantern. It was the first one, I
There we
believe.
go.
Nobody
Scott
gives a
didn't
shit
count.
about Smallville.
Alan Scott did not count.
Remember in season 6 when Oliver Queen name dropped Bruce Wayne and people went crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
my
People went
god!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
ballistic.
I do
Right.
remember that, and it was in one of those like preview clips, so it came
Yeah.
out before the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
I
Everyone was like,
dude,
what?
I literally no.
Right.
I remember exactly where I was when this happened. I think I was in like
Yeah.
high school, and
Me
I saw
too.
this
Yeah, I was in
clip
high
in between,
school.
and I saw this
Yeah.
clip like in between classes, and I rushed home to make a video on this after school, and
Yeah.
like that unlocks a memory right there.
But like,
And
like
then the
seriously,
next
It was
Arrow
cr-
season
it's-
later, the words Batman are said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy because the guy who plays the lookalike Bruce Wayne from Batwoman
Warren
is
Christian.
actually
Was in Arrow.
was an Arrow, and he was a totally different character.
I
So-
wish we got to see him as
When
at
they-
least Bruce Wayne because he's a great cast.
we did.
Yeah.
We
get to
saw
see
we saw him
we saw him
as a
Bruce Wayne.
hallucination.
He was. He
Well,
was
yeah,
in-
but we didn't actually get to.
Yeah.
bro,
We didn't
no,
see it.
we forgot something. This
Oh,
gave
Hush.
us our first. This gave us our first version, live action version of Hush. This gave us our first live action version of Batwing. This gave us
Yeah, that's cool.
this thing. It gave us 2.0 versions of villains. They gave us Killer Croc that looked better than the movies.
King Shark. Before they did King Shark.
King
Yes.
Shark.
Oh, King Shark looks amazing.
Gorilla
Right.
Grodd versus
Right.
King Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
still
And King Shark looked like really well done compared to the movie.
There's that
Yeah.
shot when he's like hot, like he's like jumping over Barry and like the water splashes on him. I was like,
yeah.
that's some of the best DC has looked, in my opinion. Not to say there aren't good looking shots, but I love that shot.
And one of the best things that we ever got here too was we got like perfect 1-to-1 comic costume adaptations of a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
Like you got
Yeah.
a perfect Flash costume, multiple great Superman costumes, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Black Lightning, Killer Frost, Monitor, the list goes on.
I don't
They
think
made
it's simple.
Jay Garrett
Like
look
that.
cool.
Jay
Good
Garrett,
jacket.
Yay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fact that they accommodated Melissa after, and they honestly, you could tell the evolution in the like production of like the costumes and the hair design. They heard
Yep.
Melissa. They heard Melissa. They heard Candace, because when Candace first started, they said they had no black hairdressers. And then when you look back on shows, like any show that's produced, I'm rewatching Chicago Fire. Watching it for the first time. The main
Yeah.
character, like the battalion chief, is a black man. When I tell you that man's lining is atrocious for the first couple of seasons,
I rebuke.
like his
Oh,
lining,
yeah,
his haircut is terrible. First couple of seasons, you can tell when they eventually switched it up and actually started bringing in, actual barbers that can cut.
Yeah.
They can cut black people's hair. Like you could tell when they started bringing in people that could do black people's hair. When they
Yeah.
heard Melissa, when she says, "I've been wearing this," we
Right.
started off the show in LA wearing a skirt was cool, but I'm in Vancouver wearing a skirt all the time is really dumb. They gave
Yeah.
her a dope
Right.
new suit with
Right.
pants, and then
Yeah.
literally wrote her
And-
excitement into the episode.
Yeah, and arguably that was the best suit.
Yep.
Yeah.
for her, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, 100%.
That
That was the
era,
best
like
scene.
heading up into a crisis when they're like, hey, well, let's give all of our characters new suits for this crossover. And
Right.
like
Nano
that,
suits. Nano
that-
suits. 'cause
They stopped with the jackets. When they stopped with the jacket looking stuff,
Yeah.
when that Batwoman era is when they stopped with the jackets.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Did you
I
see
love-
that real technique that they did with the Superman suit and Superman Lois
Yeah.
when he took out the screw, his suit healed?
Yeah. That's because
That-
it's the suits being Kryptonian. I was so worried that they were gonna have the DoD make their suits. I'm so glad that it's Kryptonian technology, and just seeing their faces, like just stand like, bro, they were happy.
They
as
were
hell.
so happy.
They were
yeah.
so
Yeah.
happy, and it's just like that was genuine happiness because they're like we actually get to put these on, like it's happening, and then seeing John with it was so symbolic in last night's episode, seeing John Irons By the way, Taj ditched us to go get food. So yeah.
That's valid.
Seeing John with
Tell him to give me some more soy sauce. I'm almost out.
with the cape and the
John with
Superman
the cape and the crest after
Right.
Lois literally told him, "You are a Man of Steel." I said,
boom.
"That's
Yeah.
poetic."
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, and like we actually got a cool version of John Henry Irons Steel.
Have
live
Steel.
action.
Not Shaq.
After the joke version of Shaq in the 90s, they even brought in freaking Starlight. They took a while to give her a name, I'll admit, but they earned that. They built up
Yeah.
to it. So
I'm so glad that Sam. But first of all, can we talk about? Let's talk about the progression of they placed Sam as being another one of the great dads in the CW DCTV universe. He's up there. He's up there with Paul Blackthorne as Captain Lance, with Jesse O. Martin,
John Wesley Shipp, even
John Wesley Shipp. He's up there now because just rewatching season 3 and seeing how initially he was just trying to he wasn't thinking that, oh, she wanted me to still be her grandfather. I can use her. She's an asset. They showed that growth. They showed the growth because I forgot at the beginning of Superman and Lois, him and Lois were not that. They were not.
They were not.
They were bumping heads.
Right.
They still know how to write these great relationships.
Right.
They just perfected the formula even more. And that's when I tip my hat off to Todd Helbing because he struggled with that on The Flash. He struggled because in the beginning of Flash, he wasn't by himself. In this, he was.
Yeah. And in Todd's defense, right? He didn't I think it's better when you get to start from day one and be like, okay, this is my thing. This is my thing. When you jump onto someone's already established project, it is hard to find your rhythm, to find your beat. I think Eric Wallace was in a semi-similar situation where it's like,
Schwartz too.
Actually, Eric Wallace was in the opposite effect, where when he was using past characters, he did well. When he was using new characters, he did not know how to operate that machine.
Chester P. Runk, that's my favorite character.
Yeah.
Bro, nobody's heard of him. That's not anybody's favorite character.
But he made Allegra, so
look at that first Wally episode where Wally came back. Some of the best Wally stuff we had in years.
Oh yeah.
It was like, okay, do that with the new characters or characters we actually care about every episode.
Bro, I was so hyped. That Wally episode, I was so hyped. That was the best Kid Flash we have had. Season 3 of Flash. When they said forget the budget and they let Jesse, Barry, everybody just I said Bessie. Jesse, Barry, and Wally, they just let them run around.
Towards a bunch of CGI gorillas.
Enter Flash time. What the Gorilla City?
Gorilla City.
Gorilla City. They did Gorilla City on the CW.
And I want to go back to Lance's point quickly about you were talking about how Sam Lane is up there amongst some of the really good dads now. In the 3rd episode of this last season, there was a moment in there where I outwardly just exclaimed my relief because it's right after they noticed that John gets powers and you have Sam and Lois talking about it. And they say, hey, he would make a good DOD recruit. And then, you see Sam, he wants to go through with that at first. But he says, I went behind your back with Jordan using his powers. I'm not going to do that again. I was like, thank you. You're actually growing. You're learning. You're evolving.
There's that growth right there.
Because you don't really get that in CW shows in the later years. And it was so refreshing.
Yeah. Nobody was static either. I think you can go back to a lot of previous Arrowverse shows and say, okay, this character was kind of more or less the same when we met them and then when we left them. Up until literally this final episode, everybody was still growing and changing and evolving. And I think that it gave it such a beautiful story to tell.
And even if it wasn't something you like to see, even if it was a step down, it was real. It showed that they made mistakes. They weren't perfect.
Right.
But you mentioned something earlier about not putting your universe before your characters, right? Which is one of the biggest thing I keep talking about as we move forward, right? Because we're talking about the future, right?
Right.
Is that this show, again, limiting on budget, you think they're by being handcuffed, and it's we have freedom to expand our creativity when we actually prioritize, okay, we're not going to hide excitement just by either CGI, visual effects, and or some CGI diarrhea on screen just to call it a day, right? No. We're actually going to sit with these characters, and what might seem boring felt earned and felt the momentum that, as a fan of these characters, who they are, that I'm invested just watching them, just being human beings, being people, even though these are alien, Kryptonians we're talking about here, right? And these, out of this world, disbelief, situations in the story. But at the same time, we just have a dad just trying to protect his family. Right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah.
There, someone that I know that basically said Superman and Lois is like an apology to past projects that failed. I didn't see it until the final episode where he basically dodges Doomsday's hand, and I was like, that is a callback to Justice League right there. The Joss Whedon one.
I kind of want to ask Phil this because, this is something that you and I have gone a little bit back and forth on. This is another unpopular opinion of yours that I'm about to throw out in front of everybody here. I'm curious why you didn't connect with the first Superman and Lois season.
Because I don't like the fact that he has a brother. I think that's stupid.
Well, he does have a cousin.
I thought that was just kind of dumb. I mean, I get they use the Eradicator and all that shit. I was like, yeah, I get it, but I just don't like the idea of Superman having a brother.
He has a what?
Okay, that's fair.
So in this one,
it's just my preference. It's a nitpick at best. It's not really a criticism. It's just a fucking nitpick.
On this Earth, Omega, Clark Kal-El was the only physical birth. When before his mom was, betrothed or promised to Jor-El, however that works, before they got married, she was promised to another Kryptonian, a very ugly MF named Zeta Ro.
He looked like Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter.
Like ugly. He was ugly. So they Kryptonians were genetically engineered. So his brother was sent to Earth in the 80s. He got to Earth in the 80s, years before. He is Clark's physical older half brother. They have the same mother, but the mom didn't raise him. The mom never actually met him. He got to Earth and he became this universe's Morgan Edge. But what he wanted to do was basically play Revenge of the Body Snatchers and place Kryptonian consciousnesses inside the residents of Smallville, creating a Kryptonian army.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's a thing called Orange K that can basically
it's not Orange K, it's
XK.
Kryptonite X.
Yeah, well, it's still orange.
Well, yeah, but it's not.
Look at your face,
ladies and gentlemen.
Whatever.
Still orange.
Still
orange.
And it's the thing that made Supergirl's cat.
What?
Apparently, it could plant consciousnesses, but then all of a sudden, it just started being used as a drug to give.
It's okay, brother. I'll revive you.
When did they? That's the one.
I'll get my Spectre hood and revive him.
That's the one issue.
Yeah, I'm standing you.
When did they change that? Because in season 1, it was first of all, it was so iffy. It was so flip floppy. It put Kryptonian consciousnesses in some people, but for people like Tag, it just gave him super speed.
Oh yeah, Tag.
And they also said later in the show that no metahumans existed around then. There were metahumans technically before the timeline of season 1 because that's what onomatopoeia was. So
yeah,
you're right.
It's a little bit confusing. That if that's the way you want to run with it, that there aren't metahumans here, or that the only metahumans are villains. If that's the way you want to run with it, fine.
They really never addressed that.
I would have liked some explanation.
Omega, to answer your previous question, yes, I think it's DCTV. The Arrowverse is worth checking out. Granted, you have a volume of stuff coming out down the pipeline, but if you're into DC, people are nerds about this stuff, or they're just making a buck. No, there are fans behind these shows, behind these characters, if you will. So I think it's worth checking
Phil,
out.
you got to
that metahuman's name was fucking what?
Huh?
That metahuman's name was what?
So they took.
You never heard of Automatopoeia?
They took a Green Arrow villain from comics and made it into a Superman villain.
That's why I don't know who the fuck he is.
They use sound and stuff, right?
Well, so in the show, yes, but in actual comics, you saw
using like
words
the
or
action
effects,
words.
like words that,
Like
he's in
pop
Cape
and
Crusader.
bang and stuff like that.
Like the only live action that character would have worked in back in the day was like the Batman '66 show, and that was it.
Yeah, it's a Kevin Smith
Legends.
Yeah.
He tried getting
gave us
those, trying
three
to direct
Dr.
an
Lights.
episode of Arrow
I
and bring
know
in the
who this
character, but
is.
they wouldn't let him.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that was his name. I've seen this dude.
They gave us 3 different Dr. Lights, which is funny.
They did though.
Yes,
They
they
did
did,
give us
though.
3 different Dr. Lights in the play.
Not to mention,
and the
Not to
actual
mention
Dr. Light from the comics was the worst one of them.
Yeah. Hey, can we talk about his obsession with those light-based villains in season 6, going into season 7?
They also gave us Toyman.
Sunshine. That's not a villain name, bro.
They did give us toys. They did.
No, I mean like they gave us Toyman.
Oh yeah, that too.
No, hey, when he got to play evil Winslow Shot Jr., hey, Jeremy killed it. When he got to play like the evil version, I liked that. He was good. They were playing, they got to play villains so well. Cisco Carlos
Reverb.
What is his name? Oh,
Carlos Valdez.
Carlos Valdez playing all those different versions of Vibe. He killed and nobody, like we said before, nobody knew who Vibe was before the Flash.
No.
But
Hey, can you pull up
Tom
that comment right
Cavanaugh
there,
gets the
Oh,
credit
what?
for the most different.
Can you pull up that comment down there at the bottom? This is my question.
What did happen to
This is my question.
Hey, the fact that
He did.
The fact that when Canada Grass posted that picture, it blew the internet up.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's
the
from
fact
Earth
they brought
19,
him
I
back
believe.
just to still not
You
do
didn't
anything.
see
with
him in
him.
the new one.
It's definitely just you said Earth 19. It's Earth 19 Hunter Zolomon. That's what I'm going with. That's my headcanon.
They did sound alike. Oh, let's
They
not-
also
he
gave us
looked like him.
they also gave us what's her name? Turbulence? No, not Turbulence.
trajectory.
Turbo Man.
Trajectory.
Yeah.
They also gave us Trajectory.
We got fast track. The one thing Eric Wallace did was pull from the DC Rebirth comics and like his entire run, Blood Work. Him pulling Blood Work was his best work. That was his best work.
They also gave us Negative Flash too.
True. No, but I didn't like that suit. I didn't like that suit.
Yeah, it was.
And then you had an absolute you had an absolute bastardization of Godspeed, and it was terrible.
Yeah, let's not talk about Godspeed. All right.
He looked so good, but it was
yeah.
so bad otherwise.
I will say it. I think the best version of Godspeed was that season 5 episode.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I will agree.
Pied Piper. They gave us Pied Piper, bro. We got
I love
Pied
Hartley.
Piper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Harley's cool.
We got Captain Cold and Heat Wave and
Hey,
Dude.
Wentworth Miller.
That show.
Wentworth Miller needs to be the only Captain Cold
Yes.
ever. I love his episodes. Like,
But before the show made Reverse Flash as popular as it was, Captain Cold was the most well-known Flash villain.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
that show just completely made Thawne like the one-man up-and-goer. And also, they made one of the best villain transformations from comic to live action. Because you look at who's called Professor Zoom in comics, exact ripoff of Reverse Flash, pretty much. They turned
he's
Zoom
got
into
darker
his own
lenses.
character.
He got
They
darker
turned
lenses.
darker lenses, and he's not a speedster. He just
They turned
Yeah.
Zoom into his
He
own
can't walk.
character, and they nailed it. Like season 2 of the Flash is the absolute sauce. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of
We got
funny that the
Black
new Flash is the only one that doesn't really
Hey, rest in peace
Well, Reverse Flash.
to
and
Tony
Zoom.
Todd. The
Yeah.
early seasons of Flash and bringing in just celebrities to do their voices. Like,
Yeah, that was amazing.
You got Mark Hamill to play the trickster in live action again. He was basically
Yeah.
playing live action Joker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
So we gotta wrap it up because it's getting ready to go into Darren's
Peace to
stream.
homies.
But
Yeah, I
man,
got my D&D game.
the Arrowverse has officially come to a close. It's only fitting because this week we also get the beginning of the DCU. It's been a great run. Like nobody can take that away from the CW and all these other DC TV shows. They did their thing. Everything may have not landed. Naomi, let's just say it real quick. Naomi
Peace to
needed
homies.
new writers all around.
Peace to homies. The ones that got
If
canceled.
Naomi has 0 haters, I'm dead.
Hey, also, let's not talk about how tone deaf the CW was and just having Javicia do Casey Wallfall's interview and then acting like we weren't going to notice. You did that because they're the only two black female superheroes on the network.
Yeah.
We're gonna that was so tone deaf and bad. Like I'm surprised they actually agreed.
They dangled a piece of cheese in front of us saying Superman and Lois and Naomi on the same night.
Exactly.
They end it being like Superman's never appearing in this goddamn show, you fucking suckers.
Yeah.
Bro, I started watching that show
You
at
stupid.
But they may have had some duds. They may have had some bad seasons overall.
Rest in peace to those shows that never happened. Green Arrow and the Canaries, Yara Floor.
They gave us Gotham Knights over Painkiller, which was
Painkiller. Yeah.
Painkiller.
I wanted Painkiller, man. I really did.
Before we go, let's just say, Phil, you cannot deny Crest, as much as I love him, he tanked the final season of Black Lightning just because he didn't want to do it no more.
I don't think so.
His beef with China and McClane also ruined it because we got that horrible bait.
Which, by the way, brought a whole conversation about colorism in your own damn family. Like that was like so weird. Like it's just like, what was the point of this? Like, and
then you could tell it was beef between them. Yeah. She was never in the same scene. Then if Jim was, it was clearly a body double with a wig on.
Yeah.
Hey, so Lance, I got kind of like one last thing for everybody here because this is like the end of this whole discussion. From that whole era, from start of Arrow to end of Superman and Lois, could all of you guys pick out your single favorite season?
Yes.
Without
doubt.
Flash season 2.
Season 1, Flash for me.
Flash season 1
as well.
Flash
season
1.
Yeah.
I'm going Arrow season 2.
Flash season 1 probably.
That's not bad.
Flash season 1's probably my favorite season of television ever. Like I just have such a connection to that season. It's crazy.
I can't pick. I can't pick, but if I had to, I'd say Black Lightning season 3. They just
you're gonna say Batwoman.
I thought he was gonna say Batwoman.
Black
Gotham Knights season 1. Good night, everybody.
No, Lance, no, I agree. That's a good one too.
Black Lightning season 3 is when they hit their stride.
It's really good.
I will go to Jason and say Lucifer season 1.
Oh my god!
Can we talk about how Nafisa just had her Anissa's house had Shonda? Like who like you have a smart apartment, like not a smart house. You have a smart apartment. Like that was dope.
So I guess what is like I've done the best. What's everybody's least favorite?
Naomi, without a doubt.
No,
fuck
Gotham Knights.
No, I meant like a
aside from cancel, like ongoing show.
Ongoing season 4 of Supergirl.
That's a good one. Arrow season 4.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
Arrow season 6.
That too. Keep going.
I hated Ricardo Diaz. Like that was a terrible. He was a terrible villain. I'm sorry.
Flash season 9.
Flash season 5.
I was about to say, Darren. I think that
Flash
hit
season
it.
7.
Flash season 7.
Flash season 7.
Wait, which one was
dude,
the
Flash
season
season 7?
where they
I
did the
almost gave
lightsabers?
up.
That's
I literally
that was
gave
season.
up.
That was season 7. Yes.
Wallace took a picture from a comic book and just handled it horribly.
I'll be honest, those like lightsabers are probably the only thing I like about that season. Like it's so fucking stupid. But honestly, I kind of love
right
it.
After that. I like the
You
scene
know
right
what
after
would be-
that when
what
Thawne
was-
gets destroyed, but that was about it.
Barry
You know what
just
would be
got
funny
suddenly
is the-
powerful after that. That was hilarious.
Right.
Yeah,
You
they
know
were
what
just
would be
pulling
funny
powers
if,
out of his
that-
ass, literally.
That scene where Cisco makes a light for the Flash to flash in the sky, and he goes, I seen it in a comic book or something.
Yeah.
I was like, anytime they do a scene where it's from a comic book, they should be like, I saw it from a comic book.
You saw Jay Garrett and Barry or Hunter posing as Jay. They were running to Patty Spivot in the brick wall of the Flash in Two Worlds and like Flash coming. You know.
I hope they paid the writers
And
and
also
artists of the comic
they
book
did
moment. I
the
really hope so.
Superman and Supergirl pose where Superman
Crisis.
picks up Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in Crisis though. It was in this second episode of.
No, we're saying
Supergirl.
that's from Crisis though.
Crisis.
The book.
And we got Brandon Routh playing Superman again. It's like,
Oh yeah.
And that
We
and
got
that suit
90s
was
John Wesley
peak.
Shipp. They recreated the 90s Flash suit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's speaking of Elseworlds, though, like I think that is probably the best era. Like that's my favorite era to like think back on, just like the lead up to Elseworlds, like all the little teasers at the end of episodes leading into the crossover. It was the smaller scale crossover, but I think it's still my favorite.
I think they also gave us a little bit of like a sneak peek at Superman 1,000,000, where he's like solar powered Superman, and that was in the finale of season 2.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit.
Can we talk about in Crisis how Diggle and Black Lightning did?
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
And you know, I know a lot of people like they might have missed this, but that bit during Crisis Part 1 where Oliver runs at the Shadow Demons, that is ripped right from the original Crisis, because that's how Earth 2 Green Arrow ends up dying. So I know it's not the same Green Arrow there, but they did a great job with it.
They also showed us a little sneak peek at the Green Arrow suit that Justin Hartley wore.
Oh yeah, they surely did in Elseworlds, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to call it a day. Everybody
He
can
was dead
take,
though. I
we can
hate it.
take this party on over to Darren's stream, where Taz will also be
Yes.
dazzling us with his sultry vocals. I want to thank everybody for being here today, for just this celebration of what made us all friends, what we literally, well, at least for in Darren's case, what we literally grew up on. Darren was a kid when these shows started.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I had cable when this stuff started. I don't have it anymore.
Bro, I wasn't married and didn't have kids when this stuff started.
It was my senior year of high school was when Arrow started.
I'm still not
I
married.
was 7 when the first DC show
I was
started.
in college when
I was
this
fresh
stuff
out of
started.
high school. I was literally a year out of high school when like Arrow first aired. So like this was like a great chunk of my life. I'm grateful for it. Like if I didn't have these shows, I wouldn't have met you guys. I wouldn't have got into doing this. So yeah, if nothing else, the Arrowverse, the CW verse, it brought a lot of people together. And I'm grateful for that. So and everybody in the chat, like for real, like I'm great. I'm great. Let me stop before I start crying. I'm already halfway crying in my Superman and Lois review. So
can I just add that and I hope a lot of this energy carries on forward with the rest of the new stuff with DC because without saying much,
100%.
all I'm gonna say to everybody here is to a new world of gods and monsters. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh,
Good
It
one,
went
Ronan.
by far too soon.
Yep. And
Don't cry because it's over.
I hope
Smile
this
because it
one lasts 20 years.
Yeah.
I can't take
hardly
another
knew
10
you.
year.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Yeah. So we will catch you guys next week. We'll be talking Creature Commandos. And I think this was the official last Party Nation stream that we talk anything current about the dang, that's crazy. But it was fun.
Truly the end of an era.
End of an era.
Soon be the death of mine.
Letting me down, letting me down, letting me down.
Just go ahead and do it, 3 Dubs Jesus. I know you're waiting.
Oh.
Get me the hell out of here!